about me than my family members do. And so when we talk about not trusting someone to do it right, my government should never know more about me than I'm willing to tell my son or daughter. How can moving to a flat tax world ever relieve me of that invasive burden?
Well, I'll take the first stab at that and say that even under the fair tax regime, you're still going to have to tell the government the size of your household and how much money you make. You're going to have to tell them the size of your household because they're going to have to calculate how big your rebate is going to be. If you've got 2 children or 3 children, that makes a difference. And you're going to have to tell them the amount of your income because we have to calculate how much Social Security benefits you're potentially going to be getting. So while I agree that there is a huge privacy angle to this, and I don't relish the idea of the federal government knowing to the penny how much money I earn and where it comes from. But at the end of the day, the fair tax cannot, nor can any system that we have seen come to prominence, completely eliminate that the way that I'm sure the 4 of us would like to do.
And the one thing I'll add to that is that we all share this notion of how can we get government out of our lives and from prying into our personal affairs, but it's because of big government. So we're up here debating which good tax system is the way to go, but I hope we're also all agree that we need to somehow figure out how to shrink the size of government, because if we can put in place personal retirement accounts like more than 30 countries have done, if we can get rid of a lot of the intrusiveness of the federal government, we won't need to tell them a lot of information. The one thing I'll say about the flat tax that I think also gives you some advantages and not having to let the federal government know as much is the flat tax in effect is like a universal back-ended IRA. You pay tax on your income once when you first earn it, but there's no double taxation. So it doesn't matter whether you're getting dividends or capital gains, it doesn't matter whether you want to pass on a nest egg to your children. Because there's no double tax, the federal government has no right or business or ability to ask you about your financial assets. You pay tax on your income once, and the government doesn't get another bite of the apple. I don't like the IRS getting one bite of the apple, but I damn sure don't want them to get 2, 3, and 4, which is one of the big problems with our current system. I would gladly, if we got rid of the 16th Amendment and replaced it with something that even a left-wing Supreme Court couldn't undo, I would gladly stand with you and charge the machine gun nest of big government for a fair tax. I'm wondering whether that goes the other way. Until the time that we can get this constitutional reform to get rid of the plague of direct taxation as an interim measure, would you all agree that a flat tax is a good stepping stone?
And the reason is this. We've been struggling to get the American people educated to the need for fundamental tax reform for, in my own case, almost 10 years now. And if we were to pass something that Congress could market to the American people as fundamental tax reform, even if it wasn't anything even as good as the flat tax, even if it's just some more pruning of old dead wood and messing with the rates a little bit. But if they could market that to the American people as fundamental tax reform, then the next thing that we would hear for the next several years would be, oh, you guys want to reform the tax code? Didn't we just do that? And we'd be a decade or more away from getting the fair tax passed.
For me, the flat tax is where we ought to be today, right? Not where we ought to be going, but where we ought to be right now. That we ought to be able to get together right now and decide that the exceptions and exemptions don't need to be there. The manipulation of government doesn't need to be there. The infrastructure is already in place to make that happen. So in this round, where folks believe in changing America, I think the flat tax is what happens if we lose the big fair tax debate. Then we're going to go to the flat tax. We're going to make the flat tax work, and we're going to make it work for America. It's not going to solve our corporate problem. It's not going to solve our payroll tax problem. But it's going to be a whole heck of a lot better than where we are. This debate's coming. This debate is coming. We know it. You know it. It's just a question of where's it going to end up. And if that's where we end up, is that going to be a giant step forward with the flat tax? 100%. Huge step forward to get to the flat tax. Again, but I don't want to stop with what I know is doable. I want to dream big.
Okay, so the fair tax panel, you have the
gentlemen, we know that the lack of border adjustment element is a major deficiency of the current tax system, and we know that with globalization